I recently bought a bunch of one-star tools from Amazon and you guys loved it. So we're back with a bunch of random tools from Harbor Freight that all got insane one-star reviews, just like this one. Let's get into it. So we snagged up 6 tools for you guys today, and we're gonna start out with this 20-volt Bauer drill. I'm not gonna lie, one of my favorites is always when I see a review that talks about flames. I just picked this up on 2/19/24. I got it home, unboxed it, and changed the battery. When I installed the battery and it turned on, sparks were flying out of the back, and it smelled like it was burning up inside. I will return all of the Bauer cordless tools tomorrow. I don't want to worry about the rest of them. I'm curious based on this review because it could go twofold. One, that person got a bad tool that was literally on fire, or 2, they just don't know that tools with brushes smell.
What is that smell?
And they make a little bit of sparky inside of them. So let's plug this thing in and check it out. At $54.99, it's not a bad deal for a full-size drill with a battery. If you recall any of the videos we've done where we buy batteries and stuff, a battery itself can run you $100, especially with something that's like 2 amp hours. Try not to destroy this box. Comes in a nice bag. It's well packaged, very unlike anything I've gotten from Harbor Freight recently. I wonder why, John. I don't think I very often buy new Harbor Freight tools. We got a rapid charger here. So we're gonna give that a minute to charge, and then we'll see if it actually shoots sparks out of the butt. Every tool that we've bought has a multitude, like I'm talking a large volume of 1-star reviews. They're all kind of gems. We've got, in all caps, from this gentleman, use the drill once and it overheated and shut off. And then repeated with use the drill once drill overheated and shut off. In all caps, gotta love that. Another 1-star was that it has no guts. They've owned several battery operated tools, and it's the first time they've used one of this brand. It had a full battery and couldn't drill a single hole without being shut down, and it would also drive a number 8 1 5/8 inch screw. So we're gonna try to drill a single hole with this thing and see if that person's name was Jerry was telling the truth. Ain't nobody got time to charge things up fully, but we've got 2 bars on here. Now, I'm not gonna be pushing this sucker to the limit by like trying to, drive holes through cement, but we are going to first and foremost test my favorite review of butt flames. Please, tool gods, give me butt flames. Flame on! Ooh, did you see that? Be honest. I think, can you see it on this side better? It's not the butt flame that I was hoping for coming out of the back, but that is some aspect of a brush tool that when you stop it is super common. I'm gonna be honest, that's quite an aggressive little spark in there. You can see it through the top here, there's like this little hole. Look at that, like, it's just such an aggressive spark. I don't know why, I think it's hilarious. So I can honestly see why someone who doesn't own a lot of tools or know a lot about them might buy this and be like, holy shit, this thing's on fire. But that's pretty normal, so 1-star, I can see it there, sparks flying out the back, like, yes. Now, I wonder if they had a situation where it was like actually sparking. Let's put a bit in this and see if the comment on no guts was actually true too. All right, kids, so I got a bunch of bits here. We'll start out with just something like kind of normal. I've got this 1/4 inch, this is a brad point bit. This is for wood. I'm not trying to not make this look good, because I gotta be honest with you. I'm an advocate of buying tools if you don't have them. Harbor Freight makes a bunch of tools that are pretty affordable and they have great return policy. No hands. Guys, look, it's an auto model. This thing doesn't feel like shit. It's a little bit loose in the battery where it's like handled down here, but like the trigger and the action on it, the chuck and everything is pretty solid. There's no click in the chuck, which I don't like, but the tool all in all feels pretty good. You've got 2 settings here. 1, high and low more or less, or 7 and 8. But definitely you can smell the brush inside of there doing stuff. So let's see if it can cut some holes. 1/4 inch brad point. I mean, it's not a full battery, but it's not fast. The very common and popular 25/64. Ready. A lot of drilling has to do with the bit, and I think that bit's pretty sharp. Oh, and then we'll go up to the biggest brad point I've got in this kit, which is 31/64, right under a 1/2 inch. You can hear it bogging down. Also, put your hand on that. Woo, son. I'm gonna grab a paddle bit and see how that goes. Paddle bits usually take a little bit more balls to get through some stuff. So This is a 2x4 and a 3/4 inch bit. Still got 2 bars of battery back there. Come on. It completely shuts off. I mean, that's not common. And that bit is not dull. Let me grab your big boy drill, kind of show you how that should look. This is got 1 battery, 1 bar. See how it does. Same bit. That's what a drill's supposed to do. Gotta say, both 1 stars were probably warranted there. I'm so sorry, Bauer drill. On to the next tool. Up next, we've got this 16-piece Forstner bit set sticking with the drilling theme. And I gotta be honest with you, Forstner bits can be a woodworker's best friend, but if they're shit, you're gonna hate them.
I just want you to know I hate you.
Reason we decided to go with these is because our beloved Sam Pula once went and made the mistake of purchasing this exact set. He said that, let me just paraphrase, the quality of the tool was just not even close. We also went and looked up hundreds of 1-star reviews, and we printed a few out for you. Very common to hear that they are super cheap, they felt cheap, and they didn't really work well. They're very slow. One of my favorites is this one. It just says, no, coming from UG-TX from January of this year. It said, I could cut a hole easier using an old rusted spoon. I've never seen anything so dull in my life. I have other Harbor Freight bits that work great, but not these. So, weirdly enough, a dude just sent me a bunch of spoons we could chuck up in a drill and try to cut some stuff, but we're not gonna talk about that. What we are gonna do is try to test some holes, and I'll just be honest with you. Out the gate. Look at this. That is straight out of the packaging. I could just tell that's dull from the start. Like, it's got no chance. The bit that came directly next to it, look at the sharp point here, look at the inconsistency here. This would cut me. This just feels like a nice little nibble on the tip of my finger. Yeah, right out of the box. Let's go chuck a couple of these in the drill press and give ourselves a proper opportunity to use them and cut some wood. And while on my way across the shop, I looked up the price of a cheap set from Shop Fox at Home Depot, and a cheap set from Home Depot, $112. This one, $49.99. I've got a set of fish bits that we've got years ago that are resharpenable, and I haven't sharpened them in 3 years. These cost a couple $100, and I love them. So I continue to use them over and over. You can see how good a care I take of them. I don't take good care of much. So let's start with a common size, like a 3/4. Now let's just go straight to the 1. What do you think, Joe?
I like it.
Straight to the 1. Max RPMs are 450. Wow, that's so low. My drill press only goes down like 250 is the bottom. Like, I'm real confused with this. That doesn't make any sense to me, spinning it that low. Can someone in the comments please tell me why I would recommend spinning that low of a speed? And while you're in the comments telling me why I'm stupid, or this tool's stupid, or whatever you want to tell me, hit that subscribe button. We're almost at 100,000, and this is a brand new channel. It really helps us continue to be able to do these videos. All right, we are chucked up. Now, something of importance, right now that speed is running at 1700. Let me turn this down. I've never had it run this low, not even with metal. I have no confidence in this. When we moved shops, I broke the little handle off this. It does not want to go that slow. So the belts inside are loosening. We're gonna go to 1000. I don't want that, I don't like that clicking. I think we done broke something. Trying to just be a little bit safe here. Give us a fence, clamp this down, so that people can't say that I cheated with the cheapness. I have zero hope for this, people. It's working. This is a 2x4. You hear it slowing down. We're gonna turn it back up. It's working, like poorly, but working. The whole point of a Forstner bit is to give you a nice flat bottom. If I cut another hole and you were like wanting to make a mortise or something, you gotta go so slow at that speed. That's flat, it's not clean at all though. That's what happens when those cutters are pretty dull. Let's turn it back up. See if it cuts better when it's going fast. This sounds better, huh? And not great, not very good. I wanna chuck one of mine in there, kind of show you the difference. There's not much more to do with a Forstner bit than that. My bits are insanely dull. Like I said, haven't sharpened these in years. They're so dull, I wouldn't even advise using them. Yeah. See how that's throwing chips and not dust? That's a dull bit. See these chips and chunks? That's what a sharp bit would look like. And this bit's dull, right? Show you again. Let's just try a different one. That wasn't one of the ones with the broken finger on it. Golly, it's warm. Let's go a little bit bigger. We think bigger? biggest. Okay, so we've got a 2. Look how shallow that is too. That's goofy. This is a 2 1/8, I think it says. And usually a bigger bit, you want to go slower as well. Here we go. I think they're throwing my drill press out of alignment. It's not great, if we're being honest. Look at the difference in these size-wise on those cutter. One cutter, all cutter. Sharp, that one's actually sharp. How deep that is, look at the difference there. This is their same size bit, same speed, same material. Chuck it up, see what that looks like. This one is used, very used. See how big the chunks are coming off of it? That's what a Forstner bit should look like. See how those look? That's what a Forstner bit should do, is chip out like that and pull the stuff up. Just for comparison side by side, I'll avoid that knot. I think the bit's off balance. See how much it's wobbling? It shouldn't wobble that much. It really shouldn't. Let's see if the 2-inch bit's that terrible. I'm really pushing the saw. Yeah, that's a lot better. Look how much dust. So you see the difference in the dust versus the chips that came off the sharp bit? Like, out of the box, if I'm buying cheap stuff, I want to at least get a couple uses out of it. And to be honest, the reviews that are like, they're dull, they're cheap.
They're dull, they're cheap.
They're right, they're junk.
Still a piece of garbage.
1 star. Up next, we are back on the power tools with this 7 1/4 inch single bevel miter saw, coming in at a healthy $100. And these are phenomenal reviews from someone anonymous. And to be honest, when you say something that's amazing, I don't know why you'd want to be anonymous. The broke down cutting quarter round. If you're not familiar, quarter round's the stuff on the bottom of your molding in your house. It's literally 1/4 of a round piece of stock. It's a waste of money and time, and it broke down on the first use cutting 1/2 inch molding. First use, broke down.
Like, damn, that sucks.
That's a bold statement. As well as the second, and might be my second favorite to the fire out of the back of the drill review on all of these tools, is completely useless unless you're cutting pencils. Well, we're gonna put that to a test. Verified buyer from May 4th. Let's open this sucker up. We had a bunch of caffeine and it's 3 p.m. So she's a little guy. If you watch my building videos on my other channel, you probably have seen the little Milwaukee 7 1/4 inch saw, and that thing's awesome. We love it. These things are phenomenal if they work for when you're doing small stuff like in your house. Say you're doing flooring and you need to be crawling around, or say you're doing trim or baseboard or something like that that's not super tall, that's flat. That stuff works great. I'm a giant, so I make this saw look even smaller. Right out of the box. She looks little and cheap. There's no blade in it. Is there a blade in the box? Tell me it doesn't come with a blade. You gotta be kidding me. What? Harbor Freight, what the You tell me this, Joe. Non-tool guy Joe behind the camera here. What looks like it should go right here in the packaging?
Saw blade.
Saw blade. There's no saw blade. And then this review from Josh says, Arbor was bigger than they stated in the specs and they tried 3 different blades. The price was good and the size was good for a DIYer, but the Arbor was too big for the 7 1/4 blades they bought and the ones that they had on hand at the store. That's stupid, and that pisses me off, because it should come with a damn blade. Every frickin' saw in America comes with a blade, even ones I get on used pallets. Go find a blade. 1/4 blades that we just happen to have laying around. Let's see if I can fit them on this hunk of shit. High hopes for this sucker. I love a little 7 1/4 inch saw. Also, whoever engineered it, I have to loosen this screw and pivot this out of the way here because I can't get access without doing so. There we go. What is going on with this thing? Oh my goodness. It just clicks. That back knob is the bevel. Is it this? Yeah, that's that. Okay. One piece of safety. My goodness. I've never seen anything like that. Just turns. I just gotta find the detent to stop the thing from turning around, and I might be able to change it, put a blade on this. It's a 2-tool removal. That's great. Never had that on a miter saw before. That guy's review was wrong. Get her on there real quick. Golly, if I like slip at all, I'm just gonna slice my hand directly onto the frickin' blade. Okay, dumb design there. We are ready to cut.
Finally!
We're gonna start with the pencil because I thought that was potentially the funniest thing I've seen in a long time. Let's just see if she turns on. She's got juice. Now, there's only one pencil that's appropriate in a moment like this, and that is a Get Squirrely Carpenter's pencil. Let's test it. I don't know if it's the saw. I don't know if it's the brand new Diablo framing blade, but it cut that pencil pretty damn good. The saw blade does get completely through the material, but you can see like it barely gets there. That blade is only going probably 3/4, maybe a 1/2 inch through the material to get down. Let's grab some real material. I've got some 3/4 inch melamine. This stick cutoff pine and then a small strip of hardwood. Let's see how she does. Let's go on the vertical. Working fine so far. Hardwood. I'm not seeing it, guys. I am not seeing it. This is a 3/4 inch by 3.5 inch piece of MDF. Be like kind of similar to a piece of molding. Let's test the miter on this sucker that I find to be incredibly ridiculous. The fence is like comically small. Just about maxes it out. I gotta be honest, I'm not buying it on the 1 star on this sucker. Is it the best tool ever? Absolutely not. But we got a good blade in there and it's getting the job done. 1 star tool review from all you goofballs, not warranted. Be nice to this one. She's better than you're giving her credit for. I'm giving it 3.3 stars. Why? Because I can. Definitely worth $100. Put a good blade in it, you're good to go. On to the next. Up next, we've got the most expensive tool, this 12-inch planer from Bauer. It's a 15 amp, 940 RPM, 12.5 inch thickness planer. A thickness planer for a woodworker, super important tool, and getting into one affordably can be awesome. Reviews are saying not good things though. Not good for hardwoods. This dude ran 200 board feet of cedar 1x4s, was not getting a smooth finish. A month to the day after the manufacturer warranty ran up, he smoked and seized the motor. Would not recommend. Glenn's review is pretty good. It says, bad design, 1 star. 2 of the planets broke in AA week. 2 A's, and he said planets. I think he meant platen and potentially only a single A. Not sure. First one worked for about an hour before the rollers began to break down. I returned it and picked up a replacement. The replacement worked for about 2 hours before the roller sprocket teeths sheared off. I returned this one and upgraded to a Hercules planer. I haven't used the Hercules planer yet, but Bauer, no good. The motor failed after one project and the dust collection is bad. Shoot. Product is very bad quality and clogs quickly with wood chips. What language is that? Is that French? At $349.99, let's check out the Bauer 12.5 inch thickness planer. Yeah, that box is not in good shape. Hopefully this thing comes with blades or it's going right back because it's pretty ridiculous that didn't come with a saw blade. It does look reboxed. We've got damage to the hell's this stuff called? Styrofoam. So this is actually pretty exciting. When I got started woodworking, I don't think they made a planer, Bauer, and Harbor Freight. So I started out with a 12.5 inch DeWalt, the lunchbox, which we still have. And if we need to go on site and plane some stuff, we bust her out from time to time. We've got the dust shroud here. Let's put this bastard on real quick. See if my French friend was correct. All you're looking for in a planer is you shouldn't need the use of suction to spit chips in a lunchbox planer. It should spit right out the back, no problem. The chute is going to direct it in a specific direction. Obviously, that's the intent there. I will say this, coming down to this little 2-inch port and then up to a 4 like this does is a no bueno for not getting clogs. So I can see where they would say that is probable. It requires a hex key, which it didn't come with. There it is. Bada bing, baby, let's go. So for the sake of our French review, I'm gonna put the dust shoe on, see how she does. Got a little 2x4, and then I actually have some maple, some walnut, and we'll see if this bad girl can actually get her done. Get her done! You have your ears? Yes. You got your eyes? Good. And if you don't have your eyes, grab yourself a pair of shop shades. If you're working with a tool like this, you definitely want to make sure your eyes are protected because this thing's spitting chips, it's loud as hell, and it could even shoot a board at you, hit you right in the face. Why not be protected with crystal clear clarity and all day comfort with a pair of shop shades? Check them out. Support us idiots so we can do more videos like this for you. Now, we're on, we're plugged in. Are my headphones in? Not proper ear protection? Are you ready? Driver's ready. Sam, you ready? Everyone ready? Here we go. It's actually not bad. Now, brand new blades always cut nice. Some pretty good chips. It's not that loud. Brand new blades are going to be a huge difference on any planer. You can see here, we've got actually a pretty nice cut coming off of the saw. You can look at that sheen. Can you see that? Can you see that? Can you see that? That's a 2x4. And that's almost finish ready. So let me grab something a little more hard and see if our dude was correct there.
Okay.
Good old piece of soft maple, maybe? I don't know, some kind of maple. We're gonna lower it down. Sunday. Very common. I mean, you're getting very common snipe that's in these lunchbox planers. Tear outs, pretty minimal here. I mean, unless I start running like huge. Let me get one more. A big piece of wood. I'll do a bigger piece of wood. A big old chunk of wood here. It's about an 8-inch wide piece of oak, 8.5. It's not jointed, and I know a lot of people use lunchbox planers. They use them on the job site without a jointer as well, and they're doing a lot of what's called skip planing, which is basically just kissing both surfaces, flipping it over until you can get them to cut relatively flat to one another. So here we go. Still going, get it out of there. The snipe on this specific machine is pretty bad, but I gotta say, as far as the reviews go, not saying it can't cut hardwood, the biggest issue I see on this thing is that the snipe is not great. Like, can you see that on camera? That's called snipe. That's not great. Kind of got it on both sides that I was feeding it. I mean, it said not good for hardwoods. Well, you shouldn't be considering a lunchbox planer for hardwoods together. The dust collection clogging, not terrible. I didn't run it long enough for the motor to fail. Bad design. I just gotta disagree. I'd probably give this like 2.5 stars if I had to. It's not the most fundamentally sound machine, but for 350 bucks, if you are someone looking to get a planer, it's worth a shot. At the end of the day, it's Harbor Freight. Just go return it and get another one. On to the next tool. Up next, for the steep price of $4.99, we've got the classic Harbor Freight tape measure. 25-foot, 1-inch tape, and the reviews here are incredible, people. We've got some beautiful English and eloquence here with this first review from a verified buyer that says, very bad experience, drove 15 miles to get this item, told me. The product, it good, the service is very bad. What kind of service are you expecting from a tape measure that cost $4.99? Also, how close do you expect to live to a Harbor Freight? Very interesting review. The reason we bought this tool is because of this review though. It's not accurate. It's off by a 1/16 for every 36 inches, or worse. I didn't bother checking how off it was by 25 feet, but I assume it's more than a 1/2 inch. For me, it's completely unacceptable for a tape measure to be this far off. Harbor Freight should pull this flawed product immediately. Totally useless junk. Let's put that to the test. Alrighty, so I don't have anything that's like aeronautical or spacecraft, but I've got woodpecker tools and they're pretty accurate.
Tomato, tomato.
So we're gonna use this T-square here and just take a couple measurements, see how the Harbor Freight holds up. And then I've got some tape measures as well. We'll see how close those are. So we'll start your 6-inch measurement, your 12, 18, and 24. Pretty accurate there. Draw a line. God, this thing is so beat up.
I was using that to weed whack outside.
You were? Where the hell did it get all these nicks in it? Interesting. Okay, now for the $5 tape. I think that thing costs like 150 bucks. I actually have no idea what that costs. Straight out of the package. My guy, 6 inches. So the 6-inch, you could see, is off by 32nd. 12, same thing. 18, getting closer to a 16th. That 24 is a full 32nd off. He said it was off by a 16th over 3 feet, and this one might be a little bit more off. Let's test it against some other tapes. We've got a 25-inch, this is like a cheapo Stanley. Mark that here. 6, 12, 18, 24. We got a DeWalt with a light bulb on it. Check that one next, 24. This is very scientific, people. And then we've got this Milwaukee tape that looks like it could use a hug. 6, 12, 18, and 24. My mother-in-law has this tape measure. 6, so you see it, that's the 12. I'm not moving these around to falsify. 24. None of them are perfect. I think that's the interesting part here, because I didn't expect them to be either. If you're looking for like insanely high accuracy, you can see from this line, you're not gonna get it. The Harbor Freight and the DeWalt are both basically in line. And then if I come here, the Milwaukee and our Stanley are both slightly off. And those are just like, that's very minute. The Milwaukee here seem to be the most out, and that's the most beat up. But the reality is, everything else is pretty darn close. I'd be very hard to get any difference in those other two tape measures. I think something that you need to consider if you're new to this, or tools, is that a tape measure itself has play. And this here is to compensate for the thickness, the hook here. And in order to be accurate, it has to have play in it. Well, over time, the play becomes more and more as the tape gets older. See how it moves? It's intentional. So the tape could be loose here. This is pretty loose for a brand new tape. Obviously this Milwaukee's beat up, like beat to shit. So it's off a little bit. If you expect to spend $5 on the world's most accurate tape measure, you're an asshole. I would actually give this 4 stars, because if you're just getting started and you need a tape, $5, go grab one. Next tool. And lastly, if you're one of the 844,000 people that watched me unbox a pallet of returns from Harbor Freight, you'll recognize this guy. We got it running in that video, and it's time to test it. Yep, straight out the gate. Light as hell. The reviews on this sucker are phenomenal. Let me put it together and then read you a few. All right, before I even talk about this thing, 149 bucks is pretty cheap for a table saw. And I mean, if you need it, you need it. That's what it is. But the 1-star reviews for this are phenomenal. Cheap. Not worth $60. It's a badly built machine and makes you feel like it will break on any second and cause an accident. Immediately broke upon setup. Right out of the box, the blade guard broke before I could even finish the setup. This is some seriously flimsy garbage. Glad I didn't try to cut anything with it. Didn't even give this sucker a shot. Poor quality parts. Returned the item. Poor quality even for the money. Return the item in store. Save yourself the restocking fee. Burns the wood. I bought this saw to cut engineered hardwood flooring. Despite trying multiple different blades of various tooth count and ensuring the blade was set up properly, I burned the wood and it smoked like crazy. Couldn't even finish the job. It's too cheap. So we're gonna find out. 150 bucks is super cheap. Now, I've been getting this sucker set up and I will say, this tool sucks. I can't get this thing out. Like it is not supposed to be this hard. Let me move that piece of junk first because that's got its own issues. Like this should just pop right out. I can't get a finger in there. Oh, brutal. Next, razor up. Does feel super, 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 super cheap.
Cheap.
Which I obviously do not love. The ratio for the raising and lowering is super, super slow too. But let's get a blade on here. I got this nice CMT combo blade, I think over here. It's something we use all the time. See if she actually cuts. This arbor nut is so little. It's like 2 threads. But you can't expect much from a job site table saw. It does have on tool storage for these wrenches here, which is nice. You also have a riving knife, which is another nice addition, always good for safety. Pretty cheap in there though, and like that won't stay down, which is a little concerning. That's as far down as it goes, and stay girl, she's gonna stay. We seem to kind of be set up and locked in place. We'll put this plate that locked in there with the force of a Greek god. And let me tell you about this. So I just put this on, and then I was like, what is this, right? I thought I was on the wrong side. And then I was like, okay, it goes over here. But then I was like, why are there knobs on it? Also the wrong side. So I put it back over here so it could be right-handed. And I'm like, why? They have this extension arm here, but for what reason, I have absolutely no clue. It just makes no sense to me. And so more or less what that does is it shortens the length of the material going against the fence. I think and the intention might be to eliminate pinching in the back. Got it turned the whole way to the right and then locked into place. As far as the bevel goes, see how square we are, not bad. That's as far as square as we can go, and you can easily see daylight underneath it. So out of the box, I can't get the saw to go any more to the right. Literally, I'm turning it as hard as I can, and it won't go any further. That's where it should be. It's a great start. Let's bring the blade down, cut a few things. The next thing to consider is the fence square. We'll find out. A couple ways to measure this. That's at 2 5/16. Just use this. If this is square to the table, which it should be, and I just squeeze this down, it looks pretty good. Okay, one cut, everybody knows the rules. I don't know how blade guards work, so we're not gonna put that on. I've got a 2x4. Let's send her. It helps to plug your tools in. Struggle in. For what it is, quality of the cut's not bad. It's pretty straight. You know, it's not like cabinet saw quality, but let's see how it does with the hardwood. According to our guy here, it should be burning the wood. Bring that down a bit for the safety. Can't lock it, so we're just gonna hit go. To be honest, it's not that bad. It has some stupid quirks and a bunch of stuff that like I don't like personally. I'd love to see like somewhere for the fence to positively stop and hold on to, a little bit of a better quality like plate. The button for power and the stop button are really hard to get to on the front, and the arbor being out of square kind of sucks. But 1 star? Probably not. I'm gonna give it a 1.75, slightly above it. I don't think it's the worst table saw on the planet, but it's definitely close. With that, it's gonna be a wrap on this one, people. I need to know in the comments below, what store should I find 1-star tools from next? Let me know.